Welcome back to the Story Traders podcast. Today's episode is stories about accidents.
Pretty broad.
Pretty broad. Because we were like, well, we could go workplace accidents. We could do car accidents, which sounds pretty heavy, but...
Yeah. All different kinds of accidents.
All different kinds of accidents.
Mine is both.
Okay.
Oh, my.
It is a car accident that happened while I was at work.
Oh, lead us off.
Boom. Yeah, so high school age, I was working at a carryout. And I'm not sure about child labor laws. I suspect that maybe I shouldn't have been.
How old are you?
You also grew up in the boonies.
This was probably, I started there when I was 16, and I was closing shift, like
Oh, wow.
like 1 o'clock at night, getting out of there
Oh, wow.
on school nights.
That is pretty crazy.
Which, yeah, so I mean, I was going to college.
At 16?
Yeah,
You were taking college classes at 16?
yeah, at the
What?
community college.
Homeschool.
Yeah, right. So it was like not a big deal, right? But I'm pretty sure the laws don't allow that. So
Okay.
Yeah. Seems a little fringe.
yeah, it's like, I think it was like a Thursday night or something like that. You know, it's going to be a real chill, boring night, not much traffic.
Probably not, though.
And life's going on, right?
Yeah.
And it's getting later in the evening, and the carryout was on a T, right? So it was a state route that teed into another state route. So two fairly busy roads that merge inside of a village.
Okay.
And on the, end of the T is the local bank. And it sat real nice up on a hill. Big pillars
Okay.
up on the hill.
Yeah.
And so it's, later in the night, people pumping their gas, doing their thing, whatever. And all of a sudden, I'm standing at the counter and I hear,
Oh, no.
and I just see this like flash, and this car goes flying through the T, ramps up the hill,
Oh,
my
gosh.
takes out two pillars, and goes straight into the lobby of the bank.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it was crazy.
And this wasn't a bank robbery.
No, this was not a bank robbery. So the only patron of the gas station at the time was a friend of mine, and he's pumping his gas, and I like run out, and he's like, "Did you see that?"
Oh my gosh.
Couldn't have missed it. And so we like ran over, and the guy was like, you could kind of see him through the window, kind of, and it was like he was like kind of unconscious, and
Oh, my gosh.
the EMS building was like right next door.
That's
So
convenient.
Kind of like came over, but they ended up actually life lighting him out of the bank parking lot.
Really?
Yeah, they like landed the helicopter, and I'm thinking, awesome, my night just got a little bit more interesting, and I'm not gonna like have to like nod off at the counter, try to stay awake. But unfortunately, everybody else in the town, because there's not much to do, decided, hey, let's go to the carryout.
Oh, yeah.
So that we can watch this
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah, let's go get a pack of cigarettes so we can watch.
God.
So it became one of the busiest nights I remember.
Oh, my
And you're just like
goodness.
trying to
Yeah,
like keep
just
an
like-
eye on what's going on.
They're landing a helicopter
Yeah.
here.
That's wild.
You know?
Holy cow.
Growing up in a small town, you're like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a
Yeah.
bird from the sky. No, long story short, though, he was okay. So
Okay,
that's
that's good.
that's the end of it.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah.
We can
Do we know why? Like
not sure what the deal was. Yeah, not sure why or what happened. I'm not sure if he fell asleep or what.
Was there a stoplight at the T?
It was a stop sign.
Stop sign.
Coming in from 55 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was going, it was a 35 mile an hour speed limit, but he was definitely doing more than that. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
And just straight up into the bank.
Jeez.
Wow.
It would have been a great heist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, really.
Yeah.
But-
he's like, this would have been perfect if I hadn't passed out.
Yeah. Or maybe he was just a disgruntled customer. I don't
Yeah.
know.
could have been.
Yeah.
They
Jeez.
dropped my interest rate last week. I swear I will
Yeah.
stick it to them.
My savings interest rate.
Yeah, my savings interest rate.
I didn't pay my mortgage and they foreclosed on me. I'll stick it to them.
They foreclosed on my double wide.
Oh my gosh. It's actually funny though, because you wouldn't believe how often I see a house or a business at the end of a T, and I think to myself, That's a horrible spot for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've thought that so many times.
Yeah.
So that's a crazy story.
I mean, the people's house where we used to go to small group, the road that we would come in on, the road that they live on, I don't know if you guys came from the north or the south, but we would come from the south. And it was like the first curve was right there in front of this house.
Yes.
And it's like every time I'm like, oh, this is terrible. Like they have people's headlights coming in all the time. And just imagine if someone falls asleep right there, they're going right into the house.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hard no for me, dog.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No thanks.
So if you're wondering, a Toyota Corolla will fit in the lobby of your local bank.
Okay.
Your local.
I've always
regional
wondered that. That's another thing I've thought to myself. Would a Corolla fit in here?
bank. Yeah, I think it would.
At a certain speed.
Yeah.
At a certain speed? Yes.
Yeah. All right. You want to go, Josiah?
Sure. So, my accident story actually involves something that happened at your house.
At my house.
Yes. So
At my current house.
your current house, yes. So the day, I'll just preface it a little bit. We were spending pretty much all day away. I think we were in like Clifton Gorge or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
Oh,
yep,
yeah.
yep.
Oh, yeah.
So it
This
was like a family day, and you had your dog at the time.
Yeah, he was pretty new. I mean, he was like 2 years old at this point, but we hadn't had him for super long.
Yeah. And also you had not left him alone for like a whole day before.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a whole day, but we hadn't left him for like a longer period of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it was definitely not a whole day.
yeah, well, yeah. It was a very long period of time and you were concerned about him. But you were like, he'll be fine. He's in his cage. We'll get to him eventually.
Yeah, he'd been fine up to that point and everything.
Yeah. So we eventually wrap up what we were doing in wherever we were. And we were like, well, let's keep this party going. I think we grabbed pizza.
Yeah, we picked
on
up
the way
pizza.
home.
Yep.
And then we all gathered up at your house. And you unlocked the door. And I was right behind you holding pizza. We walk in that door and just this wall of a very strong aroma that happened to be
From the pizza?
no. Strong aroma of poop. It was like, oh my gosh. And then we do a quick little spin around, look at the room, and Jack, his dog, is his crate or his kennel or whatever was in the front room there. Look at him, and oh boy, he had some explosive diarrhea while we were
The
gone.
poor dog.
That dog.
That is the only time he ever had that kind of diarrhea before, and it just happened to be while we were gone.
Yeah.
I felt so bad, and it was like every other time he was perfectly fine to be by himself for a while, and especially like because we would be going to work and stuff, so like he would just have to be fine by himself, and he was fine. And then this one time early on,
I swear, when I say that we walked in and we realized that he had painted the walls, I genuinely mean, it was
bad
everywhere.
I felt so bad.
And we look at Jack, and sometimes you can tell if a dog is like kind of embarrassed or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that dog was like, I am so sorry. This is not how I planned this day was gonna go. So yeah, it was just such a stark contrast holding these pizza boxes, and I'd every once in a while get like, oh wow, that pizza smells really good, and so yeah, we had to clean that room.
Yeah, the pizza was not hot by the time we ate it.
Okay.
Yeah,
but it was like it was early summer, and so it was not cold, but it was cool enough that like we had to open all the windows to get some fresh air inside. Right. And so it was cooling off the house pretty quick, but he needed a bath so bad. And it was just like, we just hosed him down real quick, soaped him up, hosed him down again. And the poor dog, I felt so bad for him. But yeah, fortunately we didn't have anything like that ever happen again.
Yeah.
So, all right. So my accident story is actually a car accident.
Ooh.
We were we were at like a retirement party or something, and I was heading back. I came up to a two-way stop, so the two other ways did not have to stop.
Wait, you said you were at a retirement party?
Yeah, I was
You're retired?
no. I would love to be retired, but don't have enough Social Security, you know. Oh, so
Working on the pod.
yeah, working on the pod. So I had pulled up to this stop sign. It was a little rainy out, and this was with my CRV. And to my left, I saw a truck coming up, and they were slowing down, and they had their left turn signal on, so they were going to turn onto the same road that I was on, but away from me. So they weren't going to actually pass me. They were just going to turn onto the same road. And the car behind, I could tell, was not paying attention because they were still coming up at a pretty good clip, and then they realized that the truck was slowing down to turn left, and right at the last second, they veered off to the right of the truck and hit me on my front left of the CRV.
I forgot about this.
I mean, they had totally pushed in like the wheel and the axle, and like the front bumper was messed up, and like overall the car looked pretty good for having just gotten hit and everything, and they took full responsibility for it. There wasn't any issues with insurance or anything, which I was very grateful for, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, well, at least I'm not in a mud hut in Alaska. But
Yeah.
So we ended up calling the cop. They came out, did a report, and the car obviously wasn't going to go anywhere. So we called a tow truck, and the tow truck was like, I don't know what it is. The tow truck driver was like, I don't know what it is about this weekend, but there's so many cars that have gotten hit. Like this is we've taken so many cars to the local Honda dealership for whatever reason.
It was the rowdy retirement parties.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. And so they load it up and take it down, and we ended up talking insurance. The other people's insurance was gonna, handle all of the fixes on the CRV. But the dealership was like, yeah, it really was a hot weekend for car wrecks. So like we have a lot of cars in front of you right now.
Of course.
And fortunately, the other insurance company did pay for like a rental car. So we got a Toyota Corolla, which was newer at the time.
And you got that Corolla, you're like,
I was like,
this
actually
could fit
pretty
in
nice.
this could fit in a bank lobby.
Yeah, it could fit in a bank lobby. And it was like pretty nice. And at the time, the CRV had, I want to say it was like 95,000 miles on it. And I was in college at the time. Mm-hmm. And so I was commuting from home to school every day. And I'm not going to lie, the Corolla was pretty nice to be taking instead of the CRV because it actually got better fuel mileage. I mean, I was getting 30 miles per gallon with the CRV, and the Corolla was getting like 37.
Sheesh.
And I was like, all right, hey, it's kind of a pain, but at least I've got like a nice ride for the time, and we don't have to pay for it and everything. And the CRV took so long to get it fixed.
It was over a month, wasn't it?
Oh, it was 2 months.
2 months?
It was 2 months that it was in there, and we had this Corolla this entire time. And I'm telling you what, we milked it.
Do you remember? I also milked it. Do you remember?
I don't remember where you took it.
I took it out to Pennsylvania.
Oh, you took it to Pennsylvania?
I took it to Pennsylvania.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Everyone was like, nice ride. I was like, yeah, it's a rental. It's a long story.
Yeah. So, they found out that this like minor accident had done a ton of damage to the vehicle. I mean, it like messed up just all of the steering. And obviously, like the fender and the wheel.
Cracked the transmission too, right?
Yeah, cracked the transmission. So they had to replace the transmission. And since it was a used transmission, they weren't going to put a new transmission in there. So they which was fine. I didn't expect that. But then, finally, I got it back. Everything was good to go. I was shocked that they didn't just total the vehicle, because at the time it was probably worth $8,500, and they put $7,000
Oh.
That is
into
crazy.
this vehicle, and it was at like 95,000 miles. And then I ended up having a transmission issue like maybe 2 years later, and I was like, it's because of this used transmission that they put in there. I'm confident it's probably cracked or something, and I'm gonna have to buy a new transmission. Fortunately, it was just like a seal that needed to be replaced. It was like $300, not a big deal. But that car has just passed 260,000 miles.
Yeah.
And so, like, hey, it just keeps going.
Keeps going.
Yeah, but yeah, that's my accident story.
That's crazy. Yeah, I forgot we had that car for so long.
Yeah, we had it for a while. Everyone used it.
Yeah. The Maximizer in me was like, oh boy, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Don't have to rack up cars or miles on my car to go out to Pennsylvania.
Yeah. All right. Leave us a 5-star review on all the places that you listen to the podcast.
Maybe you should try something else. Maybe you should say, don't leave a 5-star review.
Yeah, but then they're going to leave a 4-star or less
Don't
review.
leave a 5-star review and see what happens.
Okay. Don't leave a 5-star review. Don't comment on the YouTube channel. Don't tell us your stories so that we don't share them on the podcast.
Well, that was a double negative. That's confusing.
Okay, well, just don't do anything. Just listen to the podcast. Don't participate in this venture at all.
And have a good week.
Yeah. See you next time.